Hey, welcome into the 50-yard line, a preview of Tennessee football. We are back and better than ever. The action is hot, and high school football kicks off this week. We got college football kicking off, and in just about another week here, and then the NFL. It's no greater time of the season than the start of football season, and the 50-yard line will bring you a weekly preview of everything football here in high school on the west side of the state predominantly until we get into playoffs. And then we'll look at all of the colleges and pro teams here in Tennessee as well. So let's get into it. Without further ado, let me introduce the real Weeks, Stephen Weeks, the Gridiron Blitz, and welcome in, sir. How you doing?
Man, I'm good. It is good to be back. High school football's here. We had jamborees last week. We kick off the real show tomorrow. Tomorrow.
That's it. Yeah, Thursday night football right here in West Tennessee. Normally would be accompanied by Josh Greer from Nevada and sports, but he is out this week and potentially next, so he'll be back with us here shortly. But let's get into it. Let's talk about high school football here in West Tennessee, and things kick off on Thursday night right here in the west part of the state with Henry County and Haywood, probably one of the biggest matchups. Anticipating this season from what happened last year, it was the quarterback for Henry County, and it was the Jaden Butler show for Haywood last year. But I've got Henry County coming back with a vengeance, getting a win on the road here to start the season. What do you think about this matchup?
Yeah, I'm with you here. I look. You can't beat. You had Jaden Butler with 4 touchdowns last year, and Aiden Spellings with three. Uh, Aiden has only gotten better from last year. This Henry County team is deep, and even they lost one of their best players with Jakai Beard to Westview, but this team is still got the dogs. And I think Haywood is, they lost a little bit, but I still think they're a top 10 team in West Tennessee. I just think Henry County is could make a run this year. They're that talented. I've got it really close. I actually have it's the only score that I picked. I think it's like 31-27. I think it'll be back and forth. Honestly, I think it'll be kind of like what we saw last year: Aiden Spellings versus Jaden Butler. We'll see. But I'm going to go with Henry County.
Yeah, I've got to go Henry County on this one, and I think you're right. They are loaded, and these are as talented of a Henry County team as we've seen in the last few years. The loss of a couple transfers. We really haven't talked a whole lot about the transfers, you and I, but it has affected a lot of schools in positive ways and some schools in a very negative way. But nonetheless, I think we got a great matchup to kick it off. Haywood is a new offense. I think they're going to be running a little bit different than what we've seen in the past out of them. And so, can they here in week one get that offense rolling? I think they could be very competitive, but it's going to be a tough bout against Henry County. We do have another Thursday night matchup. That's Bolivar versus Lexington. We didn't really pick that one to talk a whole lot about, but I think Lexington is going to have a very good team this year. Bolivar also is going to have some athletes on the field, but just kind of off the top of your head, what do you feel about that one?
Lexington is a potential. I think kind of what South Gibson did last year, where they could make a sneaky run to semifinals. They're good. They're well coached. Bolivar made the playoffs last year in that probably one of the toughest 3A regions in the state. Beating Obion County there in that week 10 or week 11 game. Uh, they returned quite a few people, but I just don't see anybody I don't see Bolivar being able to take that step and beat Lexington. But I do think Bolivar has improved this year. I think that they're going to be better than they were last year. I don't know that what that means with the region they're in. You've got Dyersburg, Covington, and Westview, but I do think that they're going to be better this year. Uh, got a lot of talent on that team. It's just Lexington's going to be really, really good. Coach Carr he's going to have it rolling this year.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. 3A versus a 4A, and I just think too many horses on the in the race for Lexington. It's going to be a tough uphill battle for Bolivar, but that region they play in with Covington and Dyersburg and Westview, it's really a 1.5 pony show over there right now, and just who knows? I watched Westview in that jamboree last week. They put up 28 in like 8 minutes. It just was just touchdown after touchdown after touchdown. So we'll talk about them in just a second. Then Friday night, here in Jackson, at least, we've got the Commissioner's Cup that kicks off. But what a show for the start of the season here on a Friday night, and that's JCM at Northside. Northside, maybe one of the biggest schools as far as recipients from the transfer portal here in West Tennessee. They got a number of guys from a lot of schools across West Tennessee, and they are going to be a team that I think will be a force to be reckoned with here this season. JCM also benefited from the transfer portal, definitely not as much as Northside did, but they've got a squad coming back. Not sure as if they're as good as they were last year because of the quarterback situation. And just to be real honest about that, I'm not sure that they improved at that position. And against a very talented Northside team, that's going to be a very tough ask for this first year quarterback to come out and play this Northside squad. I've got Northside in this one. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I'm with you here, but I do think you talk about JCM. The offense is going to be what we're looking at, but the defense for JCM is going to be is very good. You still got some of those dogs on that team from last year who was a very good defense. But Northside, like you said, benefit from the transfer portal. One of those, the kid from Humboldt, Richmond kid from Humboldt, already got an offer from Memphis. I think Tylen Richmond is his name. He
Mm-hmm.
is a very good ball player. I know that you know more a little bit about Northside, but I do know that they went out. I thought that team they were my favorite team to watch last year and didn't even make the playoffs. But you lose Javante and a bunch of those seniors, and you thought. Yeah, I actually thought that they were going to be down this year. Now I actually think they're going to be one of the favorites to win that for a region.
Yeah,
Also, Coach Lowe is one of the best coaches in West Tennessee. And I think his son is the quarterback
he
now,
is.
correct?
Mm-hmm.
So you're looking at a pretty good squad. I can't wait to get back down to watch Northside. I love that. I'm excited to see them play. I think that they win this thing by 2 touchdowns. But JCM defensively is still going to be solid. They got to find some answers on offense. But I think Northside rolls early, especially in this since it's week one or weeks. Is it week 0? No, it's week one. They call it
Week
week
one,
one
yeah.
now.
The next matchup we'll talk about here is McKenzie at Huntington, the 2A state champs hosting McKenzie, who made a run at the single A state championship and going deep into the playoffs. Boy, it was an exciting year to watch here in West Tennessee. We had a lot of pushes deep in the state, but this Huntington team looked like they were going to roll. I mean, I'm not sure if you can call it a roll over Lexington last week in the Jamboree, but it's pretty much what they did, according to the everybody who watched it. They're going to be very talented this year, and I think at Huntington, you got to go. The Mustangs are favored here.
Yeah, I'm go- First off, Kenton Smith is coming back at quarterback. You lose a big part with Braylon Dearman, running that backfield a little bit. But man, this Huntington team is so good. They're going to be good all year, and plus that offense is so hard to defend and prepare for because there's
Right.
nothing like it. You can't get out and practice and have it's just hard to put 2 tackles running or a guard and a tackle running at you at the defensive line like what Huntington does. This team is built to win another state championship. That's how good they are. But let's not forget Cole Brown is still the quarterback for McKenzie.
Yep.
Jacoby Melton, all these dudes at McKenzie that are there. I don't think there's anybody in single A that can compete with them over here at least.
Right.
And I think we see another South Pittsburgh McKenzie matchup in Murphy or in Chattanooga this year. I just McKenzie's just so good. But it's so good, but I just don't see them. I don't see them beating Huntington this year. Uh,
Yeah, I have
give
to
me
agree.
Huntington. but it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be the best game of the week. I think this is the best game of the week. Huntington is. I can't wait to watch Huntington this year. They're going to be so fun to watch.
Yeah, they're going to be exciting, and as you said, it's going to be fun to watch. Dyersburg versus Dyer County, the Battle of Dyer County here, and it's going to be a this time at Dyer County. So it's always a tough matchup between these two. It's always very exciting to watch, but Dyersburg football is what it is. You know what you're going to get a heavy dose of, and it's I think Dyersburg goes into Dyer County this year and gets that victory on the road, and really I think it's just been a battle of the road team. Whoever takes the I don't know what is it 12 miles maybe 15 miles down the
It's
Newbern
less than that.
Highway. It's
Yeah, it's
just
less than that.
yeah. So I think whoever makes that trip gets the win each year, and so I think that's the case for Dyersburg this year. I think they're very tough. They play in one of the toughest regions here in West Tennessee, and that's 3A with Westview and Covington. That juggernauts Bolivar as well, and so and Obion maybe a lot better this year. So that's going to be a tough region to watch and exciting to watch. But I think Dyersburg gets the win here.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think they're still scoring from last year. Uh, this Dyersburg is. I watched them in a scrimmage against Union City early last Tuesday. Actually, um, very hard to stop. I didn't get to see a ton because there wasn't a lot being shown. It was just an offensive series
Yeah.
there with the varsity, but you know exactly what you're going to get with Dyersburg. They're going to run the ball down your throat, and that's what they do. And Dyer County is solid. They return a lot of players from last year, but I like you said, I think Dyersburg's got a bad taste in their mouth from losing last year, and I think they win this one. I don't know. Obviously, it's a Dyer County matchup. You know, Dyersburg, Dyer County, Newbern. You know, they're not. This isn't going to be a blowout by any means. Like
No.
this is going to be close. If you're there, you're going to enjoy it. I think we probably have something similar to last year, where we're talking about them scoring in the 70s between the two of them.
Yeah.
So I'm going with Dyersburg because I think they're going to have the ball late. And they're going to be able to control the clock. I still think it's going to be around 35-28, but Dyer County or Dyersburg is going to win this.
Yeah, I completely agree that whoever controls the clock in this matchup wins, and I think that's more suited in the favor of Dyersburg. So, the next matchup, Union City versus JCS. JCS is one of those schools, man. It just seems like they're on the cusp every year of doing something great again, and and they do. They have a great season. Seems like every year. They got a very talented Union City coming into town Friday night to take them on. What do you think about this game?
The homer in me wants to go ahead and say Union City is going to win the ball game, and I do think they are. I think Union City is going to be the most improved ball club this season.
Yeah,
From three wins, Union City people that are not happy. It's just not acceptable to just be frank. I this team has got some kids that have came back to the squad that are really talented. They might be down a player because just some early injuries, but I don't think they're long term. I still think I think Union City upsets JCS. But think about JCS. JCS has a South Florida commit with Kelsey Rose who is unbelievable. Um, and then you like this team is good enough to make a run. They're I think preseason number 4 in the state rankings.
hmm
This team could make a run. They could be in the same spot that USJ was in last year.
yeah.
But for some reason, I think Coach Maddox comes out and gets his first big win against a really good team on the road.
Yeah. I this one here to me is a coin flip. It's going to be one of those games where whoever has the ball last might be the winner, and I could see it going either way. Not that I want to say, hey, I can't call this game, but I'm going to go JCS because it's at JCS. Give them a little bit of a home favor here, but it's going to be close in my opinion. It's definitely not a blowout, and I think it's one of those things where whoever has that ball last is the winner. This next matchup has got to be an exciting game. but how can you not pick the defending 3A state champs in any matchup they're in because they're that talented. Westview versus Mace, it's all the View for me. And if you pick against them this year, maybe I don't know about this team week 2 they're going to play, and we'll talk about that next week coming out of Arizona. We'll talk about that for sure next week. But you've got to say they're favored in every game they play.
I don't see. I said this to you last year. I don't see Westview losing for 3 years. And it's not going to change tonight. They're going to go, Friday night. They're going to go to St. Benedict. I think that's where they're playing in Cordova, and they're going to do what they did to Mace last year. They're going. I think they win by 4 or 5 touchdowns. Talking with some of those guys, that defense is. I truly believe this, Coach, that Westview is a better football team this year than they were last year.
Watching them the other night, I can't disagree with that statement one iota because you're right. The sideline, they scored 3 touchdowns on offense, and the defense goes in, and it's a pick six, maybe the second play from the line of scrimmage, and the defense goes, oh crap, now we got to go right back out there and do it again because they scored so quick. It's like I think the defense is asking the offense to sustain a drive, to give them a breather, but the defense just comes out and stops everybody. 2 forced fumbles, maybe 3 forced fumbles, a forced bad snap because the center got hit so fast coming off the ball. And I mean, these guys just fly around. They're not overly big on defense. The defensive line is not huge, but no. Chester County couldn't run on them. It just is the way it was. And I know it's the Jamboree, and you say, well, we're not really trying to show you everything. I get it, but you still have to get positive yards no matter what you're doing. And Westview was stopping everything they put out there.
Yeah. Also, we talked about it early in the podcast. Ja'Kai Beard moving over from Henry County to Westview. You just added another Division I prospect to your team. This team is. And there's kids on that defense that nobody talks about that are going to go play Division I football.
Oh yeah,
and that's how good this team is. And I hear a lot like, oh, Westview, they're recruiting, but they're not. I mean, a lot of this talent is homegrown kids that you have been playing for Martin Westview since they were in kindergarten, and that's what they're doing over there. I don't know what they're feeding them over there, but I'd love to know so I can bring it over here because it's unbelievable what they're doing. They win, and I think that like they were born to win. And this team, I know Mace is we're 2 years removed from winning the state championship. This isn't the Mace from that 2 years ago.
Right.
This is not those guys. Westview's going to win this thing, and I don't even know if it's going to be close. I think this thing is bad. Coach Callens, the defensive coordinator, to me, wants less than 100 points scored on the season on defense. That's a goal for them, and honestly, I think that's easy. That's not too much of an ask, honestly, if you're looking at it. So
I mean, they potentially could get into another shootout with Covington, but which would be amazing to watch again. But in the end, the rest of that region, they potentially could shut down to a touchdown or less per game, and it could be a long season for everybody in 3A that's watching that pony continue to pull away from them. And as you said last year, it's a 3-year show for them because next year they're going to lose a couple guys, but they got some young guys in the mix here that are going to get in and get some minutes. But when you have the quarterback coming back for a 3rd year, wow, it's fun to watch.
We'll have Miles Brown back too next year too. So I mean, I know we're in week 1, but we still have the kid that's going to Kentucky coming back next year. Asa and Ja'Kai will be back next year. I think he's only a junior. So I mean, this team. I mean, and some of the best kids on their defense were sophomores last year. So
right, that's why they got better, right? I mean,
exactly. That's why they got better. This defense is going to be better than they were last year. The offense. I mean, you're led by Graham. And Asa scores 3 touchdowns in that jamboree. I mean, every time he touched the ball, he's a danger to score. This team is something else. And yeah, I know people don't want to just keep harping on Westview, but it's hard to. Have you if you haven't watched them, go watch them. They're like a college team playing high school football.
Yeah.
That's just what it is.
Right, 100%. Let's move to the college ranks here as we start to wind down this episode of the 50-yard line. And very excited to get this back, kick it off for the season. And we'll welcome in Josh Greer here in the next couple of weeks. And so excited to get him back as well. But Memphis got a new coach. But is it second verse same as the first for Memphis? We watched them in year after year after year just go through the conference and be a contender no matter who the coach is. They go out, they play hard, they play well, they play as gritty as any team. There's always some talk about Memphis being in in that AP top 25 occasionally. Are they making a run down the wire? They lose that important ball game against South Florida. They lose an important ball game against Tulane that could have made the undefeated season. But we're always talking about them late in the season. What does Huff do for this program?
At First off, Coach Charles Huff is a winner. I
Yeah,
mean, he's won everywhere he's been, and he
everywhere.
ain't been there long. He was at Marshall for a very short time. He was at Southern Miss for a very short time, but he wins, and he wins quick. But he was not given any favors with the schedule. I'm looking at it right now. You play UNLV on the road. You get Boise State on the road. You play Tulane on the road. You get Army at home. You go to South Florida, and then you close the season with Navy on the road. Like that schedule is not great to start off with. When you don't know what you got.
Right.
You still lost some players, but I do think that he is going to find a way. I mean, like I said, he's a winner. He'll find a way. But he wasn't given any favors. Those first 2 weeks with UNLV and Boise State, we're going to find out who Memphis is.
Yeah, 100%. What about Tennessee? They lost their starting safety for the season. The kid from Penn State is going to step in and probably have that starting role now. And but Tennessee, to me, is just they seem like they're still a year away. The quarterback battle, it just seems like nothing is always set in stone for them coming into the season. And can they take that leap in the SEC to be the Alabama, to be the Georgia, to be the the Texas, so to speak? Even though they're still young in the SEC, um, can Tennessee make that leap this year, or are we just going to see? I'm going to be honest with you. I'm predicting a 7-5 season for Tennessee, and it could be easily that, or I mean, they could be 9-3. I mean, it what what does Tennessee have to do to get over this hump?
First off, I'm who's going to play quarterback. Is it going to be Faison Brandon or is it going to be George McIntyre? I don't know. I think I think if you're just wanting to go for the future, and if I think Faison has to be the answer, I think he's the guy that you want to be the quarterback for a couple of years going forward. So I think you start the true freshman. Um, I do think that I think the defense is going to be a lot better than they were. This offensive line is as best it's been ever, or this offensive line will be the best it's ever been under Heupel on paper. You're returning 1,000 yard rusher with Deshaun Bishop, but like you said, like I don't know. This is one of those question marks. Jim Knowles usually takes about a year for his system defensively to set in. So you never know. But they did go out and get older guys to compete for that
Right.
defense. So Aaron Carter being suspended for 2 games for a flight. It stinks, but all you'll do is miss the Georgia Tech and the Furman game. Um, Losing Farouk is tough. He tore his patellar tendon.
Yeah.
That's tough. He started all or every game for Tennessee last year. I don't know. I think the ceiling is 10-2 with very good quarterback play. Like you said, I think the floor is 7-5. I think it's going to be somewhere around 8-4, maybe 9-3. I think 8-4 is going to be where I'm at. I don't know those four losses yet, though. Uh, Usually, I just throw down. For me, being a Tennessee fan, it's I would always just say Alabama, Georgia, and Florida, but that's not our schedule this year. We have Alabama, there's no Georgia, there's no Florida, which is great. Um, so we'll see. But you get Texas at home, which is great. You got to travel to Texas A&M, which is not so great. Um, so I don't know. It all depends on what quarterback shows up and who, and if they're. I don't know. It all depends on Heupel too. Heupel is a dude that needs to figure out if he's ready to take a next step.
Yeah.
If not, then they're gonna be some very difficult conversations in Knoxville pretty soon, and I don't want that to happen. I like the guy. I think he's a good coach, but you've got to start taking steps. I mean, these good teams they don't stay at this level where Tennessee's at for very long. They make step ups. So you got a 5-star quarterback. He's got to play like a 5-star quarterback in the next year or two.
Yeah, 100%. I'm going to be honest, that week 2 matchup against Georgia Tech kind of scares me
I'll be
because
there.
it's going to be one of those where it's almost like Dyer County, Dyersburg, that or the McKenzie Huntington game right here locally because that Georgia Tech offense is so unique, so to speak, in college that is Tennessee going to be ready to go to stop that? You're going to have to bring the safety down and stop the run. And now they've got question mark at safety. So that one scares me just a little bit. But I look at some of those games. You got LSU coming into Tennessee, which is later in the season. If they could be playing well, maybe get a win over Texas A&M the previous week and not get beat up, that LSU could be a win. But that's going to be with Kiffin down there now. They're going to put up big points. They're going to go score, and that's going to be a big mark game on the schedule for Tennessee this year. LSU coming in with him, especially now as the coach, and what can Vanderbilt do? Vanderbilt's kind of got a Tennessee number right now, and so it's going to be interesting. I think a lot of winnable games. I think you're right. It could easily be a 10-2 season, but you're going to have to get past an Arkansas team, which they haven't been successful on the road the last few years in doing so. So another Arkansas game on the road. South Carolina scares me just a little bit this year.
Hate going to Columbia.
It's tough. That's a tough place to play, and they've got for South Carolina, a somewhat loaded team. So that's good. That's going to be interesting. They get Kentucky at home. I'm not sure what Kentucky's going to have, if they're even going to be a relevant in the SEC this year. Just not really familiar with them this year. But Texas A&M is going to be a tough one, and then you got LSU, Vanderbilt, and really. The only reason Vanderbilt scares me even more than anything else is because they played those two teams before that game, and are they going to go into the Vanderbilt game healthy?
Yeah, you're gonna get. Are you? Yeah, gonna get beat up. I don't know. Also, Jared Curtis is going to be starting quarterback for Vanderbilt. We know how good Jared Curtis is. So,
Yeah, I mean, he's
I
got the arm to make anything happen. Can he just be confident enough as a freshman? And by then, he should be.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing with Tennessee though. Like the state of Tennessee, the two big schools, we're dealing with freshman quarterbacks. We're about to find out who's ready for the next stage. The big stage. Um, I do think that Faison is the quarterback for Tennessee. I think he's going to be a really good player in the future for Tennessee. I just got to, he's going to it's going to be combat by fire, basically. You're going to
Yeah.
get thrown out there. You're going to go to Georgia Tech. Now, I really do think that there's going to be more Tennessee fans than Georgia Tech fans there. Because, I mean, I got a ticket and they were trying their best not to sell them.
Yeah.
They were trying their best not to sell them to Tennessee fans. But, I mean, I'm going to get a ticket. So, I don't know. I think it's gonna get tougher when you start going to South Carolina. Thankfully, you get Bama at home this year, but South Carolina's tough. Texas A&M on the road's tough. Vanderbilt, thankfully, no, it's on the road too. So I mean, there's some tough road games, and you're gonna
All right.
find out. Will this be the team that got, because back in the day Tennessee ran two quarterbacks. You had Eric Ainge and the other kid. Uh, will they run GMAC and Faison out there every couple of series? I I hope not, but we've
Yeah.
seen crazier things happen in college football.
Yeah, 100%. Hey, next week, let's talk a little bit about Vanderbilt and the UTM Skyhawks. Jason Simpson, what he's doing up there, man, has just been spot on the last 7 years, and they win, they play hard, they play gritty. Let's talk about them next week as well. We'll look at the high school matchups as well, and then also get into some Tennessee Titan talk next week as we look at the pro season kicking off. But hey, what an epic start of the season right here in West Tennessee as Henry County and Haywood kick it off. Two of the biggest programs in West Tennessee, the most winningest program in West Tennessee, and that's Haywood, right? And then you got JCM, Northside, McKenzie, Huntington, Dyersburg, Dyer County. We've got a slate of really like playoff caliber games week one right here in West Tennessee. It's going to be pretty exciting. And I know I'll see you on some sidelines throughout the season, so it's always great to catch up with you on a sideline and such. But man, I can't wait for the start of the kickoff season right here tomorrow night in West Tennessee.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm heading out to Haywood tomorrow afternoon. I just love to get over there, talk a little bit of shop to Coach Seymour a little bit before the game.
Yeah,
I'm excited, man. We're here. We're finally here. It
it's
feels
it.
like it was forever, but yeah, I'm excited. Well, I'm ready to talk about these games from this past week, or from this week, next week too. I mean, so many good games are happening right now.
Yeah, 100%. Hey, guys, for all of us right here at the 50-yard line, follow the Real Weeks there on his socials, the Coach TS on my socials as well. Josh Greer will be back as soon as possible, and just offer up your thoughts and prayers for him and his family, and we'll see you on the next stream here on the 50-yard line. God bless.